Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we are going to be doing some longer-term technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets because, guys, today I want to show you a long-term pattern that's been forming on Bitcoin for nearly a year now that may be predicting for Bitcoin to correct down to around $6,483. This would be a previous low on the Bitcoin chart, and in today's video, I'm going to be playing devil's advocate and showing you guys why some people believe that we may be going there, and then I'll be weighing on in the argument myself towards the end of the video. Guys, I would highly encourage you to watch this because even if this doesn't happen, you don't want to be blindsided in the event that it does happen because this would result in a nearly $3,000 fall on Bitcoin. That's about a 33% crash, and you want to be aware and ready for every single possibility, so I encourage you guys to continue watching this video and make sure that you listen to what I have to say. Guys, I'm really looking forward to this video, so we're just going to go ahead and dive right on into it. Before we do, if you enjoyed today's video, consider hitting that like and subscribe button and leaving a comment down below. Helps out the channel when that happens, and I love reading all of your comments. But without much further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. I do want to mention one thing before we get started, and that is this. The sale on CT2A June 2020 is now over, but the price of CT2A will be going up in 3 days. So if you want to get access to the Academy before that price goes up, since so many people asked me to extend it, the sale's over, but I'm going to be extending the amount of time that you have to get into the Academy before that price increases. So if you're still interested in joining the Academy, I would highly encourage you to do it now because the course price is going to be going up $50 in 3 days. But let's go ahead and jump onto the chart. So where exactly am I finding the level $6,483 on Bitcoin? That seems a little bit arbitrary. That seems a little bit strange. But in fact, if we come to a chart on Bitcoin that I have drawn here, you can see this level, $6,483, actually represents a bottom back on the 17th of December, 8 months ago in 2019, where Bitcoin pulled back to. And that is the level that we need to be paying attention to. Before we even get into the reasons that we need to be paying attention to it now, I want to show you the reasons that you should have paid attention to it back in the day. The zone of support between $5,800 and $6,400 was a major zone of support for Bitcoin back here. As you can see, Bitcoin pulled back to $6,400 on April the 5th of 2018, and it pulled back there many times to follow. In fact, if we zoom in here, you can see that Bitcoin was trading around that level in this territory. Very important level of support for the Bitcoin market for exactly that reason. If we look back to more recent memory, in March during the whole COVID debacle, we saw that Bitcoin rallied back up above, got above it, and then came down and tested support on this exact level, and then bounced from there, moving to the upside, and we haven't gone back since. And guys, that's very fortunate because from where Bitcoin trades today, we're up a couple $100 from yesterday. That would be a 30% decline in price action and nearly $3,000 in price reduction. But all of that supports $6,483. Where does that number actually come from? Well, I'll show you. There has been a theory for quite some time, at least about 3 months, that Bitcoin is in a massive inverse head and shoulders pattern, with a left shoulder right here, a head right here, and then the theory would state that Bitcoin would have a right shoulder coming down, something like that. For Bitcoin to execute on this right shoulder, Bitcoin would have to come down to around $6,500 to $7,000, a roughly equal level for the shoulder line to form. And there's actually a lot of credence to this theory, guys. Bitcoin has a very obvious neckline sitting here at $10,300. It wouldn't be wild to assume that Bitcoin could pull back to around $6,500 and use that as a right shoulder. Now, before we go any farther, I want to point out how that would actually be a good thing for Bitcoin. This is a good thing for Bitcoin in 2 ways. Number one, if Bitcoin does indeed have a major correction of over $1,000, then we, as the hopefully long-term bulls on Bitcoin, can look at that and say, oh, that's fine. It's just a healthy correction to put a massive inverse head and shoulders pattern, the largest we've ever seen in the history of Bitcoin, into play, and that would drive Bitcoin to the moon. And that brings me to the second reason why it's bullish. If we look at price targets for this would expect Bitcoin to jump to about $17,000 because of how large this movement is. Let me show you that. Depending on who you ask, there are different ways to measure price targets on inverse head and shoulders patterns. I'm not the biggest fan of the price target system that a lot of people use, but this is how you would do it. You would take the neckline to the top of the head, and you would extrapolate out from the neckline, and as you can see, that brings the price target of close to 17K. That would be a higher high above the high back in June, and that would officially kick us off into a long-term bull market because we would have a higher high and a higher low on the monthly chart. All of this really seems to line up pretty well, but there's one thing we need to consider. Is there enough bearish momentum to actually drop Bitcoin to $6,500? Let's talk about that. Guys, you know my opinion. I've made it very clear over the last couple of weeks that I expect sideways trading on Bitcoin and slightly to the downside. Bitcoin is in this falling trading channel, and until it breaks it, I am maintaining that Bitcoin should be trending in about this direction right there. Bitcoin has been generally green for the last few days, but that does not by any stretch mean that it's going to stay there. Bitcoin could come up here, test this break, and then come to the downside and start heading towards 6,500. But what's the actual force that's going to do that? You have to realize we have some massive support beneath us, even without going down to $6,500. Turning on our moving averages, we see that the 200 moving average is right here on the daily chart, and on the weekly chart, we have the 20 and the 50 sitting just below us at right around $8,660. In fact, with both of those, we've seen a bullish cross recently, which is a very good sign. So is Bitcoin going down to $6,483 to execute this inverse head and shoulders pattern? I don't personally think so. I don't personally see a reason in the technical analysis to expect that yet. However, I'm very happy to report that we could very easily form literally the largest inverse IH&S in the history of Bitcoin if we do break to the downside, because it gives us some kind of hope if Bitcoin does fall below the 200 daily, which is sitting at $8,300. Other than the inverse head and shoulders pattern, we really do not want to see Bitcoin going below $8,300. But now that we can see this inverse head and shoulders pattern, we have some hope that if Bitcoin drops even $2,000 farther than that, that we would have a bullish scenario to come from that in, as I said, the largest IH&S in the history of the market. So I want to hear your take on this in the comment section down below. What do you think about this theory that Bitcoin is entering an inverse head and shoulders pattern? I have had people talking to me about this for quite some time, and I would love to hear your opinions down below. I don't personally think it's going to happen. I think Bitcoin is probably going to become more bullish in the next 3 to 4 months or so, and that we're not going to pull back that far. But if we do, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm going to be buying so much Bitcoin, it is not even going to be funny. Like, I'm serious. I don't think you'll be laughing at how much Bitcoin I'm going to buy. It's going to be kind of ludicrous. Yeah. Anyway, guys, if we crash that far and there is any Bitcoin left to buy after I have gobbled it all up, I would encourage you guys to buy some of it also, because that would be an absolute steal of a deal. And that is the last point I want to make in this video. When we're talking about bearish arguments, a lot of people, especially newer people to the space, you newbies here in cryptocurrency, get very scared. You're like, yeah, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but there are a lot of people in crypto, when they get into the space, they get very terrified of Bitcoin crashing and Bitcoin collapsing. And the reason is because they don't understand delayed gratification. They don't understand long-term thinking. They don't understand buying now, working now for a payoff 5 years from now. And it's sad because we've been conditioned to think that way ever since we were born into this 21st century society with instant gratification on all kinds of apps on this thing, our smartphones, but we don't have a reason to look to the long term. We don't have training for that. So I'm going to be here to smack you upside the head and tell you, you need to be looking at the long term, guys. Get your act together. Bitcoin crashing down to $6,300, even if it didn't happen, which I don't think it's going to, is not a bad thing. It's a good thing because it gives you a deal. When was the last time you complained about your favorite television that you've been looking at for the last year going on a 30% discount? I don't remember you ever complaining about that. So why complain about Bitcoin going on a 30% discount if we do head down there? Again, I don't think that's going to happen, but I would be perfectly fine with it happening if it did. So guys, we're going to keep analyzing these markets. We're going to keep talking about them. There is a reason to believe that Bitcoin's losing steam and losing momentum, and maybe that will reverse, and maybe Bitcoin will head to the downside. Maybe it's possible Bitcoin goes down to 6,500. It is very possible. I don't want to write it off and say it's just not going to happen. I don't think it's most likely, though. So that's my take on that. Like I said, guys, tell me in the comment section down below what you thought. And also tell me if you like some of these shorter, more longer-term technical analysis videos on different scenarios, different chart formations that we're seeing, because we have to find something to talk about because there's not a whole lot going on the daily chart right now. I appreciate all of your support that you guys have shown us in the last little while. We had like 30 people join the Academy yesterday, which was awesome. Welcome to everybody who's in CT2A. Like I said, the sale is now over, but if you want to join the Academy, you're still basically getting a $50 discount because I'm going to be increasing the course of the price in 3 days from $249 to $299. Guys, that is worth every single penny. I'm serious. We have a full 14-day money-back refund guarantee, and you're going to learn everything you need to know to have a strong foundation in trading markets. You know how quickly you can make back $300 if you understand these markets? Very quickly. The ROI on that is immense. And you can ask our students, and they'll tell you the same thing. Guys, I do encourage you to check out CT2A at the link in the description down below. We're approaching 2,000 members, and I'm so excited about that because I get emails almost every single day. I get comments and messages in the Discord of people that have gone through the Academy, and they're loving it, and that warms my heart because I could not sleep with myself at night if I was selling a product that did not work. I would not be able to sell it. I would not be able to live with myself if I didn't think it worked, if I didn't know it worked, and if I didn't know it was worth every single penny and more that we're charging for it. And the fact of the matter is, it is. So you can find out for yourself down below. Like I said, we have a full 14-day money-back refund guarantee. Not that anyone ever really uses it, but if you would like to, then you can do so. Oh, yes, and we do accept Bitcoin payments, as the sign back there says. Anyway, guys, that is going to wrap it out for today's video. Before I go, though, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.